The Acolyte, episode 7. That was fucking garbage.
Ace.
Oh my
Announcement of the
god.
century.
Yeah, episode 7, titled Choice. Uh, we had no choice to watch this.
Yeah.
We kind of figured it
Fuck.
was going to be really bad.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, to
yeah.
be honest, it's really bad, just not in the way I expected.
Yeah, they've been hyping up
Yeah.
this whole, I gotta tell you something. I did something really bad back 16 years ago. And then we get to see what it was. Um,
Uh, s- Seriously, episode 3 and episode 7 can be merged together.
Yeah, it really comes off as like Disney show where they have to do the penultimate flashback to explain. Well, usually they use it to explain a villain's motivation or like show some kind of sad story in the backstory, but like I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, this episode gave me nothing. It's just like, hey, Tormund just want to go home faster.
Um, yeah. Torben, played by the kid who played Tommen in Game of Thrones. Yeah. So the moment they said like, so we've been talking about the exposition lately in some of these episodes. Trinity is just really bad in terms of this. Like she is just saying verbatim like AI generated dialogue. It does not matter if it's like, oh, we've had this conversation weeks ago, because apparently they've been on this Brendok planet for like 7 weeks
Then
now. It's like
weeks. Yeah.
7 weeks, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we've been out here for 7 weeks. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it's like even I don't even know how does that work. It's like the Jedi are literally just like, oh, I'm gonna send like 4 Jedi to inspect a fucking planet. Okay, so do they have like highly advanced equipment like robots, droids, a ton of ships? Now fuck
Mm.
that. Just have them use metal detectors.
Yeah, it's like 7 weeks. They found nothing, nothing.
I don't know, man. Probably yeah,
And it's like,
probably
I,
just
I mean, I can at least commend them that like, yeah, it's a planet, it should be big enough that 4 people can. But like when you think about this as a universe that has droids and things that could help scour a planet, and they don't use any of that. I don't know. It's really weird.
y- yeah. Let's just use Earth technology. Hey, let's just put some grass and put it in the machine. That's how it works.
Yeah, and it's like I don't even know what it's doing. It's like sensing the force energy off of those plants.
They don't even call it the Force. Like, what did they call it again? like, it's like it's a really stupid name. It's like yeah, Virgins. I was like, wait, I thought that's the Metachlorians.
Yeah, now it's like, and I don't even know if
Uh,
this is like, oh, it's like maybe 80 years ago it was called a different term, but I don't even know that if I can buy that. I mean, midichlorians was like kind of like a unique word.
I mean,
Now it's like
actually,
virgin. Yeah,
no, wait. They actually call it the Metachlorians in the same episode. I mean, they didn't call it the Metachlorians. They just
right.
say it's the M stuff.
It's like M count.
Yeah. So that's basically Metachlorian
M
count.
count is midichlorian, to be fair. Well, that's but I don't think that's what the plants like what they were like analyzing the plants for. I don't know. It's just like it seemed
Yeah.
kind of pointless.
Yeah,
Um,
and then it's weird because they literally said, "Oh, a Afrogens could create life like what we see on this planet," which is like, wait, I thought Palpatine's motivation in Episode 3. It's like, I want to create life to become more powerful.
which
Like,
could be bullshit.
yeah. I mean, if Episode 3 isn't bad enough, that actually, witches created babies. Oh, by the way, this episode did not expand on this at all. They forgot this actually. They forgot about this aside from like one scene, and that is fucking stupid.
Before they have like before they meet the characters like they did in episode 3, you have like your four Jedi. The four Jedi that May wanted to kill: Trinity, Tommen, the Wookiee, and Soul. And yeah, so that's where we have all that wonderful exposition about how don't you remember we've been here for 7 weeks? Torben, he's just getting really agitated. He wants to go home. So that's what leads the entire conflict for the rest of the episode.
And do you remember this? Do you know what they say about this planet unable to be habited?
100 years ago, this planet was cataloged as lifeless because of a hyperspace disaster. Yet this planet, Brendok, is thriving.
I still don't really understand what that means.
Yeah.
How does a planet go through a hyperspace disaster?
Maybe it's a Last Jedi, which someone used the hyperspace engine and just destroy the planet. That doesn't make it better. It just makes it another problem. What is a hyperspace disaster? It's like did someone just appear use hyperspace to destroy something?
So the only thing I can say is like it's kind of a one-off because like they're trying to justify why there's no life on this planet for 7 weeks when they've been searching. Maybe it was a hyperspace disaster, which is like I get it was so it's like it's supposed to be a theory, quote unquote, a film theory, so to speak. But even then, it's like you don't like. It's like what? A hyperspace disaster is a thing that can affect an entire planet to not have life. You know, Brendok is not under like a hyperspace disaster because like there clearly is life on it, which they'll find out later. But this kind of thing to theorize as to why there's no life on this planet is just kind of weird. It's like that means hyperspace disasters do exist that can prevent the ecosystem of the planet to be lifeless. And I don't know how that works, but yeah. Because I get it's like it's not like a thing you're supposed to focus on, but it's like I guess it's like what is an example of a hyperspace disaster now? I don't know.
It's like and also the fact that you think like in the future like the Palpatine or Darth Vader will use this to conquer planets or destroy or just genocide it. They don't even need to build a Death Star. Just like oh here's a hyperspace disaster. I'll use the hyperspace to make the planet uninhabitable. So they are basically searching the entire planet for to look at virgins or something, and
like life in general, but yeah, specifically a virgins in the Force.
Yeah, so this is what they discover, and so it's basically just wandering around, and so they are basically looking at the entire planet, and out of the entire planet, he so happens to find a little girl.
Yeah. So this is kind of like so there's a few annoying things here. It's like there is so much like peering over the shoulder kind of thing. These guys are Jedis. They can sense people spying on them in the Force. But like that never happens. Everybody gets surprised when, oh my god, there's somebody else on this planet. It's a lack of science and a lack of using the Force. So it's like so the contrivances make it more apparent. So yeah, that kind of leads us into the start of episode 3, which is where the episode was in the perspective of the girls. This episode is more in the perspective of the Jedi. Like just speaking on that point of view and not just like the entire episode right away, I don't feel like I learned anything from either side. I guess I learned things on the girl side, but that's like kind of understandable. For the Jedi, especially like these are the Jedi that were killed in previous episodes. So you'd have to, and especially like Torben is the one who has a heavy hitting line before his death. Is like,
we thought we were doing the right thing.
You know, it's like it could create some interest as to damn, like what could possibly be that heavy hitting that you're willing to off yourself rather than having Osha kill him. And no, it's just
out of the 4 of them, Torben has the least responsibility, to be honest.
I guess Konaka kind of. He was mind control as well.
But to be fair, Torben didn't try to kill his friends. Kanaka did. So I mean, I can understand
mind
Kanaka.
Controlled, to be fair.
But still, it's like so. If I want to rank responsibility, I'll rank Indara, Soul, Kanaka, and the last one will be Torben.
I mean, Soul kind of has to be at the top because it was really his idea.
Yeah, but
that started everything.
It's kind of weird because Indara kind of killed all of the witches.
That was after the first mistake. Obviously, was like Torben trying to run off. So then Soul had to go after him, and then that kind of leads us into the pretty much the third act, which is really bad. But I guess before that, so like you see like when they do the interrogation with not interrogation, but you know that. Feels like an interrogation, like about finding the girls sensitive to the Force and all that. Then you see in the perspective of Torben in his head, the mother character played by Jodie Turner-Smith. She's in Torben's mind, knows that it's weak, knows that he wants to go home. That's where the possession happens, which is like
what? Out of every conflict you could just do, they just like, yeah, I want to. if you let me control you, I will let you go home.
I feel like there's clearly like some kind of like Shakespearean Hamlet situation here, like where they want this to be like a very shocking turn of events. I think it doesn't really work when you don't really care about the witches in the story. And then also like when the Jedi come in and there's a misunderstanding because of Maze. She didn't try to kill her sister, even though she said that I'm going to kill you. I mean, I guess it's like one of those like sometimes you say to your sibling, "I'm going to kill you," and then it gets to a dangerous point. It's like I didn't mean it. I don't know. It's kind of weird because like May looked psychotic in episode 3, but then once she dropped the fire, then it's like I didn't mean to do that.
But yeah, there's still a long way before you even get there. I'm just weird. I was like, so the witches control Torben's mind because Torben just trusts the witch that they will allow him to go home. Like, I'm serious. Why would he believe that the witches will let him go home?
I don't even know if that's even the case because the next shot is like his eyes are turned black or he's on his knees and then his eyes turn black. Even if he believes or not, I mean, it's clearly like his mental fortitude is weak. So I get that perspective. At the same time, like,
oh, you just want to go home.
There isn't even a particular reason. I just want to go home. I mean, I guess.
Yes. So Soul sneaked inside the castle and he met a bunch of witches. I was like, okay, how do you break inside? Because remember, the first time Soul breaks inside, none of the witches got notified. But the second time they broke inside, they bring in like equipment to jam the door open, and they got notified. So it was like, wait, how did Soul get inside the first time?
That's kind of the thing too. It's like they're all force sensitive, and nobody can sense the Jedi. It's just really weird. This is kind of why I'm saying like I don't feel like anything really happened because like we see scenes in the perspective of the Jedi, sure, but I still don't really learn anything from Soul. Like the main thing that we do learn is like we get to see May's trial, where it was very clear that she was lying because she doesn't want to be a Jedi. Then that's what got Soul to say, "Let me change the tactics so that Osha can like at least trust us better." But even then, all of this comes down to a miscommunication or a misconception that Osha did want to go to the Jedi. May didn't, but Osha did. And then that's kind of what leads to the conflict where it's like that's kind of like your Shakespearean thing, quote unquote, like where the mother in her death, which it's a very stupid death, by the way.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
That's all I really get out of like these extra scenes, like seeing in the perspective of the Jedi. Is like, yeah, we saw the trial test with Osha in episode 3. The only extra content we got left is like they knew May was lying. Andara also was like,
testing the twins is not something we can take seriously. Osha's too old to join the order.
Yeah.
Which is like we kind of figured that already.
I mean, the 4 Jedi's motivation to get the kids are now, because they think the witches are kidnapped them because the witches are a cult. They're in a lifeless planet and they are born with no father. And then May in this scene was like,
Mama says Ascension means Osha and I will lead the coven. That's why I have a marking like Mama.
I have no idea how does that work, by the way.
But your children, how can you become the leaders?
I don't know.
May said,
Mama said everyone must walk through fear. Everyone must be sacrificed to fulfill their destiny.
So what did she say? It's everyone in the culture has to die.
So obviously like May's perspective is very in line with what the witches want her to do and all that stuff. So I feel like there was a jumping the shark, so to speak, when it comes to Osha, who doesn't want to do that. She wants to be a Jedi. But like obviously the Jedi don't know that at this point of the conversation. So that's kind of like where we see the follow-up before the third act, which is like where Torben really reveals that the M count has came in. They have very high force sensitivity. They didn't tell us the numbers because I'm sure they didn't want us to compare to Anakin.
But
let's be honest. But the main thing that they wanted to let us know is that they were created. So they have the exact same N count, which is kind of impossible even for twins. So that means that they were a single consciousness split into 2 bodies.
The symbionts are the same.
They are twins?
No, exactly the same. Even identical twins would have different symbionts. This is impossible without some kind of manipulation.
Twins were artificially created?
Maybe by tapping into a power dense enough to split consciousness into 2 bodies?
that is even more rare than Anakin. So are they the chosen one?
I find the chosen one kind of stupid, in my opinion. Mainly because like you can't. like, let's be honest, you can't really solve evil, killing evil and all that stuff. Like, that part's fine. I could believe there being a chosen one for a generation, then a new chosen one has to come up because a new evil comes in. I'm kind of fine with that. I think what killed it a lot was Rey. This is something I talked about before, but like, I guess I can explain it here. Rey, like, needing to kill Palpatine again, that takes away Anakin's like chosen one thing. Here it's like, I mean, it's 80 years before. I can at least like give some leeway, but I still don't really know where they're going with this angle, and I still don't even know, are they as powerful as Anakin or anything like that. Despite, I guess, they were born similarly in through some kind of magical conception.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like my perspective on that.
Okay, I need to mention this line because it's so funny. Especially in the Torben and the Jodie Turner-Smith scene.
You are a strong and good Jedi. You are a strong and good Jedi.
She said it twice. Why will you compliment someone like this?
After Torben finds out about the twins, their M counts being equal and all that, this is like proof of the virgins, essentially, what they've been looking for. So now that's kind of the thing that I don't understand. So they came to this planet in search of a virgins. How do they know there was a virgins on this particular planet? How were you able to find out that Brendok has the virgins on it? You just have to find it, and then it took them 7 weeks. They haven't found it until now. But how do you know that there was a virgins there? And then they even had to theorize that maybe there's nobody on this planet because of a possible hyperspace disaster. What kind of brought you to this planet in the first place? That's the part I don't really understand. Or like, what gave you proof that this is a planet you need to look at for possible virgins things, and then they just happened upon it. So it's like, that part doesn't really make any sense. Torben really wants to go home, so he's like, let's go get the girls.
It
So I
was
can
like,
go home.
no, like fuck that shit. All you need to do is just send the midichlorian sample to the council. That's all the proof you need.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing I could say probably is like, if they were to leave, then the girls could probably leave as well, and then they'll never be able to find them again. I could see that possibility. But even then, it's like, I mean, clearly, like, a lot of this is escalating because they want to get to their Shakespearean ending, which is kind of where we're on now. So Sol follows up, and then the two of them go across the Coven before Kelnaka and Undara arrive. So the Sol is trying to ask again, is like to the other witch, not Jodie Turner, about like how were they conceived, like the girls, because like it doesn't really make any sense to them.
Yeah, it's so for one. So remember episode 3, the witches literally tell them they are born with no father.
Yeah, so he's kind of asking like what does that mean? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah,
they still don't really explain that. Anisia, something like that.
Yeah.
She was like saying basically like, you're a leader and a mother, but you got to be a leader. It's like, because like they're having this argument about Osha, because the rest of the witches don't want Osha to go. Pretty much nobody wants Osha to go,
but
to the Jedi except for
Mother and
Ansia. But like, it's like, I guess it's like after the conversation, so like that was after the Torben brainwash thing.
And she just flip her. And here's the thing: she's a cultist, and she just literally flip her entire stand because Osha was like, "I want to be with a Jedi." Oh, okay, that's reason, I guess. I mean, that's not reason. That's literally flipping your entire moral. That's literally flipping your entire belief.
It's like, it's like you have the choice, and that's kind of like where. And it's like, so this is the hard part, because like there are things in this narrative, I would say, that like they clearly want to have this sort of, I guess, quota as to like where they want these characters to like, I mean, clearly they just want these characters to die, but like they need to feel like impact for their death. So it's like, and then it just goes back to like Leslie like talking to Dave Filoni about how could it be possible if there are good witches in Star Wars instead of bad ones on Dathomir, and I get that. But like I don't really see that, and it's like I could understand like these are good witches, quote unquote, just for the sake of a conversation. Like these are good witches, but the Jedi are like not really seeing that through their actions, which is kind of fair, to be fair. But I don't know. It's like you kind of did brainwash Padawan in front of them because you didn't want your daughters to be taken away, which is like, I guess, a mother defending her daughters, sure. But like even then, it's like, I guess after a conversation with Osho talking about how she wants to be a Jedi and like the mother kind of like accepting that sort of, I could see like where there was probably a change, but I think what doesn't really help though is like she once May comes in, then like because the fire happened, then the first thing Anicia does is turn herself into like a blob monster.
And try to kill May.
I don't
No,
even
ser-
I don't
no,
even know if that's what she was doing.
it's like even that was like, wait, what did she want her to? Here's the thing, it's so fake. I was like, they try to Thanos snap her daughter.
But it's like I don't even know if that's what she was doing. Like the problem is like everything happens so quickly because she starts doing her magic, and the first thing Soul does is takes out his lightsaber and stabs inside. That kills her when she was a gaseous monster. But okay, I guess it was that easy. But then it's like, but then she says, "I was going to let her go. I was going to let Osha go. It was her
Which,
choice."
which
And
is like, wait,
that's her dying words. Like, why didn't you just say that?
yeah, I was like, what? When they arrived, they're just like, oh, don't need to fight. I'll let my daughter go. Which was like, yeah, let her go.
Yeah,
No, no.
that's my biggest thing. It's like if you want her to be the mother that's like who wanted her, like she ended up agreeing with. Here's my thing, like not like in a theorizing or fan writing kind of way. Is like this is what I kind of thought would be the direction. Is like I thought that the mother would try to do that, but then the other witches kill her because she's clearly the only one that wants Osha to go because of Osha's desire, and then like every other witch, including her wife, including all of the following ones, her other daughter May, nobody wants Osha to go except for Osha's herself, and Anicia eventually agreed to it. So it's like I thought that in this moment the other witches were going to kill her to justify that, but they don't do that. She just turns into a demon, which gets Soul to kill her, and then she explains in her dying words that I was going to let Osha go, and then she just dies. I don't know. It's just like that's just kind of like weird setup, and maybe it would have been predictable if all the other witches killed the mother before, like like to do that kind of thing and set up the conflict that way. But at least I would understand like that writing decision. But clearly they need it so that Soul is the reason why the mother died and not because of the fire, right?
Yeah, but like
But like
that.
it doesn't make sense why Soul is the killer. I mean, it's more like he was confused because, like, to be fair, I understand why he was confused. It's like, why are you turning into a blob monster if you wanted
And
Osha to leave?
yeah, and also the fact that he literally saw May is getting disintegrated was like, actually, I don't even blame him for literally just trying to stab the mother. What's he supposed to do?
That's that's kind of that's the part like I don't understand. Like I don't really know what she was doing. I guess that's the problem with the magic system in Star Wars, or like not Star Wars in general, but like the magic system here. It's like I don't really know what they were doing. Like what she was doing to May. Like was she trying to absorb May back into her system or something, or which is like that could make sense honestly if like okay my daughters are like clearly not trying to join my coven or like be a part of my coven. Let me take them back with my magic. It's like I mean that would be absurd, but like at least I could understand that justification if that was what they were going for. But then she says in her dying words that like I wanted Osha to leave to go with you guys with the Jedi, and it's like then why are you trying to kill May? Or I don't even know if you're trying to kill May because it happened so fast
I
and
mean,
all
it's
that
like,
stuff.
I mean, my best assumption is like, oh, she's gonna teleport May away to another place. Was like, what? Why even do that? Just say, oh, just take my daughter. Fuck it. And what's even worse? Okay, here's the thing. Do you remember like previous setup, the other model, played by Marga, Margarita Lafayette.
That's her.
Yeah,
Looks nothing like her.
yeah, with spikes. Margarita Lafayette. Yeah,
Gonna be in Daredevil Born Again.
yay! I'm happy. Yeah, sorry for I think butchering the pronunciation. So okay, I want to take a step back for her character. So after she talks to what's it, May? She said, try to stop her daughter. Try to stop, not stop her daughter. Stop OSHA. Tell May to stop OSHA. Which is like, okay, okay. I don't know what do you want her to stop. How do you want to stop her? But all the witches is not. So every other witches is just gonna allow May to stop OSHA, which is like fair. Okay. So my assumption is, the witch doesn't say that. Just May kill OSHA. So that's just like, fuck it. But I mean, it's still stupid, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then, right before Jodie Turner-Smith, which turned to smoke, May comes in and it's like, fire, help, help. And like, what's the witch's name? Hero. She literally looks at her and it's like, oh, so you burned your sister. And she literally raised her weapon and tried to attack the Jedi. So what you just said is, oh, so the mother wants her daughter to get burned alive.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's too many things happening at once. And it's like, I don't really. I mean, I do have a problem with this, but like, I don't really know how to articulate my issue with it. It's more like there's too much going on where the characters are just kind of like happening all over the place.
Yeah.
Like May just comes in and like talks about fire, and then the mom just like opens out in a ghostly form. Then Soul kills her, and all that stuff, and all these things are happening. Like, it's clear that they had an idea that they want Soul to be a tragic character, and all that stuff. But like, I don't think they did it very well.
And especially just don't have the other mother just like, yeah, I will stop my other daughter from burning my other daughter alive.
Yeah, the problem is like there's no dialogue for that kind of stuff too, so I don't really know what the intention was either. Like, and everything happening so fast is like I can't even process like the logic.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the only thing I can really say.
Yeah, so even when first watch, I was like, wait, what? The mother just want to burn her other daughter alive? Yeah, sure, fuck it. Like,
but I can't really say that because like she even tells Soul that she wanted OSHA to go, and that's kind of been the semi-consistent thing about like the previous episode to this one is like the mother does seem to like want OSHA to make her own choices after their conversation, after the the whole Jedi thing, after mind controlling Torben, of course. That was not very good, but at least there was an attempt to listen to her daughter and like try to see her point of view, and then eventually come to that conclusion that she should make her own choices, despite nobody wanting her to do that. So it's like that's kind of the thing. Is like I feel like that could have been like, I thought that was like an interesting thing about episode 3. That's why I don't really hate episode 3, even though it's not. It's the second worst episode so far. But yeah, it's like that kind of thing is like I could see there was like an idea for the mother, but then even then it's like it didn't really matter in the end.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing with May is like, okay, now I don't know what your motivations are.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's a really meta line. Someday those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
To be fair, I mean, this is like kind of Clone Wars too. Like Clone Wars, they would have the witches like explain some meta future lines.
But in this instance, I was like, wait, why would you say that? I was like, well, yeah, you're literally just provoking the Jedi to attack you, and your motivation is just like, yeah, I want my daughter to go with you. So we're just like, yeah, I know you have noble intentions, but you know you're gonna get yourself killed. So fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of leads to the rest of the fight, which is this is the dumbest. No, this is the dumbest shit. I would say it's like so. There's a bunch of arrows firing around.
Oh,
so
yeah, by the way, I don't know
all
why
the
they
witches
use.
have they're witches.
They're witches and they use arrows. I mean, because I guess they're so cultists, they don't have guns. But but you see, they like to do the old. They have a really old ways to live. But
They're witches. They can use magic.
yeah, or fuck it. Even if you don't want to use magic, get a gun.
No, you use the magic.
Yeah, use the magic, but still, why would use arrows?
Yeah. This is just a chance to see more lightsabers, more fighting. After NSA is dead, then all of the witch. So then this is the dumb part. All of the witches, like, so Torben is like, they're going to take over somebody's mind. I like kind of strengthened my mental fortitude by now, so you can't do that to me again. We're not trying to do it to you. And then it's like it pans out. We learn that Kalnaka is possessed by the witches. So it's like, yeah, everybody wanted to see a Jedi Wookiee this entire time, using a lightsaber, using the Force, swinging it around. Pause. And yeah, this is your opportunity, guys. I hope you were excited.
Yay! And do I love this fight? Fuck off. I mean, I would want to see the fight in episode 4, but oh well.
Yeah, Kalnaka, possessed Kalnaka is like very much fighting Torben and Zul. It gets pretty bloody. I'll give him that. Torben gets like a huge scar on his face.
Yeah, which, by the way, which is only because Kanaka just picked Torben up and slammed it into a wall instead of just cutting him in half.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Uh,
Soul is using a lot of fist to fist. I've kind of theorized that, like, I feel like Lee is probably really good at hand to hand, so I think that's why they added more hand to hand combat with the other Jedi characters for their combat skills. I'm not really sure if that's true, but I could see that as a possibility. There's just something I noticed.
but yeah, so I don't know. It's like there's a lot of hand-to-hand combat for no reason. It's like, dude, you're literally fighting a Wookiee, who is literally way stronger than you.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. It's like, I guess it's like, because they really want to lean into like the whole, you're a Jedi, you can't use a lightsaber unless you're provoked. But I guess you're being provoked by a person that's a Wookiee that is like mind controlled with a lightsaber. I don't know if that's not provoking anymore. That's weird.
Yeah,
like, even if you're not going to use it for attack, you can use it for defense.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. So here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna rewind a bit. After Soul killed Jodie Turner Smith, so the Margarita Lafilia, which tries to attack her, and Soul did not even pull out a lightsaber. So basically, even though Soul killed her, the other mother tried to kill him, and Soul didn't even try to kill him, and other witches tried to kill everyone. And then they control a Wookiee to kill all of them. So the entire time the Jedi didn't try to kill all the witches. I was like, wait, are they trying to make the Jedi look bad? Because they kind of did everything right according to what they have.
Yeah, that's the main thing with so that's kind of why I don't really understand the decision of who kills the mother, because like it's just like all of it all signs point to like the witch, somebody on the witch's side turns against the mother and kills her because like she's the only one who doesn't agree with Osha's like fate essentially. And it's like that part could make sense to me at least like in that kind of sense. But I don't know if this whole thing about subversion, all this stuff, fine, whatever. But like I don't even see that as a possibility because Soul ends up killing her, which is not subverting any expectations. That's kind of what we expected. With how much he wants to go, like I need to tell you something, but it's way too personal for me to really say it, or it's like I don't know how you're gonna react when I say it. Um, but then it's like even then, did May not see? So that's the other thing too. He's telling the story to May, by the way. He's
Yeah.
telling this story to May, and he knows he's telling this to May. So it's not like he's telling Osha, but like it's actually May. It's not that thing because he figured out in the last episode he's talking to May. So he's revealing that he killed her mother, but May is in the room. May's in the room when her mother's dead. So
Yeah. I
this
mean,
doesn't really work. This story can only work if you're telling it to Osha, who would not know at all.
yeah.
So that's the part that I don't really understand either.
Yeah. It's. There's a lot of problems with this episode.
Yeah, it's the worst episode so far.
So, and so here's the thing. So Indara just comes out from her ship, and to break out Kanaka's mind control.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So it turns out all of the witches are mind controlling Konaka, not just one. I guess the mother was like super powerful, and all the other witches are just so weak that they need everybody to do it. But yeah, every witch is like controlling Konaka's brain, and then Andara, she just overpowers them. How? I don't know. But one Jedi overpowers the control of all of the other witches for a Wookiee Jedi, and they all fall dead. I'm guessing because like, we never see them again. But like, and the place is still burning. But I don't know. Maybe the other witches are still alive and just unconscious. We don't know about that yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I just at the same time I was like, what the fuck the Jedi did wrong? I mean, all they try to do is just to break out her mind, break out Kanaka's mind control.
Yeah. I mean, like the thing is, like I understand it in the perspective of wanting to keep Osha, like just for that idea alone. But even then, it's like the Jedi didn't really do anything wrong. Um, Obviously, killing the mother is not gonna be looked well, but at the same time, it's like
That's why that's like Mace Windu tried to killing Jango Fett. I mean, yeah, I mean I mean, okay, to be fair, that is more justifiable, but it's basically they are trying to do something harmful to the Jedi, so they try to defend themselves and protect other innocents.
yeah. I mean, it's very clear to me that they're really trying to go like gray Jedi, which I know people are really tired of that terminology now, especially after the Ahsoka show with Balin. But I don't know. It's like I feel like they're clearly trying to do a quote unquote flawed Jedi, like, and it's like it gets really difficult when it's so blatant of like how they go about it and everything. So like I always find it weird when this is kind of like their go-to now, like when it comes to writing Jedi characters now. It's like we really want this Jedi to be three-dimensional, sad or whatever. I guess it's like emotional, but I don't know. It's just like I feel like with Soul, it's like I feel like it's trying too hard, in my opinion.
It's not just trying too hard; they just make the Jedi look. The Jedi basically did nothing wrong, so it's like I don't even know what are you trying to do. It's just the writers are confused of what they want to accomplish, so they just throw a lot of ideas and just like, yeah, we try to make it complicated.
Yeah,
And
it's like again, it's like I understand like feeling sad about doing this kind of action to somebody's mother. Like even if she wasn't a good person, like you still killed somebody's mother, Osha's mother, at the very least, if you don't really care about May. But even then, it's like I get that side, but on the other side, it's like
yeah,
it just happens. It just happened, and then the story is being told to May herself, May who was present for her mother's death.
and
I don't know. It's like this is a conversation you tell Osha. Now, what do you do when Osha's back? Are you
but
just not going to say it anymore? Otherwise, you'll have to repeat it again, and that's kind of dumb.
yeah, and remember, none of the witches literally try to stop Osha from getting burned. They're just like, yeah, I want the future of my cult to be burned alive. Lol.
See, that's kind of the other thing too. It's like they kind of like allude to the fact that like you only need one of them. It's better to have two of them, but like if we have one of them, it's fine. But even then, it's like, but then May is like, I want to kill you, but then in this one is like, I don't want to kill you. And then obviously, that's how the episode ends.
I don't even get to the part that why did May even run back, run to the not to run to her room, run to the room that has a big reactor. Which, by the way, even that's a problem I have with episode 3 as well. So, why did they even use bow and arrows when they use technology this advanced? But it's like, okay, that's a problem in episode 3, but oh well. But why did they didn't say why they may run to the boiling room? Oh, sorry, reactor. I mean, all we got is yeah, she saw her mother got killed and tried to tell Osha about it. But why do you want a reactor? Why would you know that Osha will be in the reactor room? And
because they wanted the shot of the two girls on two sides of the walls, and they need Soul to choose who to save, so he chooses Osha.
yeah, and yeah, just
they need it for the shot and the
is,
symbolism.
Yeah,
and
that's
themes.
And now we know this, so May.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
May didn't just say my mother's dead. One of the Jedi killed my mom. Instead, she just like, what did you do? Implying her mom's death is Osha's fault, which is like even worse for May's character.
Yeah, and then as we talked about, kind of like the ending, they go back to return to Coruscant. Indara decides to blame the incident on May's fire and not tell the council about Soul's actions so that he can train Osha as his Padawan.
Okay, which is
I don't know, Indara. I think that's a really bad read, because like the dude looks clearly emotional, like he looks clearly unstable. I'm sorry, like he clearly does not look fit to train a Jedi, which is very clear that it happened over the last 16 years. But I feel like that's a call that you should have made even back then, before all this happened. Soul, because like if you remember, there was a line earlier in the episode like, "That's why I have a Padawan and you don't. That's why Torben is my Padawan and you don't have a Padawan, because you're too emotional, you're too unstable, like you're too unfit to have a Padawan." And then obviously like they had this conversation later. This is kind of like the quote unquote theme of this episode, like where Soul wants a Padawan and he thinks Osha would be the perfect person for a Padawan.
I don't know why.
Like, even if I can see a perspective on that, it's like I don't know, but like Indara being the more experienced Jedi, I feel like you should have a read on that's not a good call at all. If he hasn't proved himself before, I don't know how this meeting, this interaction on Brendok is what is the proof for you to say that yeah, you should be a master to this Padawan. I don't know. It's like I go back to like thinking about like how Obi-Wan became a master and all this stuff. How that it kind of took like him killing a Sith to become one. Even if it was not really ethical or like not like the proper way a normal Padawan becomes a master and all this stuff. So things like that. Yeah, I don't really see how Soul kind of deserved this, really.
Yeah, especially remember he literally let May died. I mean, I don't even like. Here's the thing: they just want the symbolism and they ignore all logic. So hold the bridge together instead of hold the two kids. So just like yeah, I'm gonna let May die and I'm gonna let Osha left because I don't have the force to do it. So the guild soul has it. He killed her mother. He killed the mother and he killed her sister.
Originally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I guess that's a guilt. So he thinks he killed May. So he has something to say to her after 16 years.
That's why it's like this is really difficult to understand the context of like how the last episode ended, where Soul is talking to May about this is what happened that day. And it's like it's weird because this information isn't really valuable to May, in all honesty. Like if you really think about it, what kind of information what information is there that May didn't really know? I mean, I guess like she did maybe think of trying to save both of them,
I mean,
but he ended up saving Osha instead of May. And it's
I
like
mean,
even that is like really flimsy.
yeah, even that was like, okay, so what the soldiers tell him is because I killed your mom because your mom tried to kill you. In his perspective,
Yeah, but we don't even know if May knows that already. But
yeah,
like
and
that's why May shouldn't have been in the room. If May was they shouldn't have like any of the daughters in the room. Like if the mother was going to attack, because like I could see that being a useful information to tell one of the sisters if they both did not know who killed the mother. That could have been fine, or at least that could have at least had some kind of justification of why he needs to tell one of them this story. But when we learned that May was in the room where essentially I'm repeating myself, that's kind of like it doesn't really add up as to why this story had to be told to May in particular. This is a story that makes so much more sense if it was told to Osha. That's what I was
yeah,
saying.
it's. I mean, by the way, yeah, you can just cut this episode out. We just want to know, wait, how did the guy from the good place just knows about everything, and why does he
Honestly,
want?
that's the flashback I wanted to see. I really did not care about this. I wanted to see how did well let's say want. I'm saying I think a more interesting flashback episode, if they were going to do it, is how did May go into uh the
Smile,
actual
Smilo Ran. That's what everyone refers him on
yeah.
Twitter. Smilo Ran.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like that's like a story that makes a little bit more sense to show because like we kind of got the point of this episode. Now I don't know if they wanted to, if they could have like maybe intercut it with like this flashback for Soul's perspective and then May's flashback related to Smilo. Obviously he doesn't know the face. She doesn't know the face at that point, so you wouldn't really know, and all this stuff. I mean, but I feel like that part could have made a little bit more sense in terms of like you know
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe episode 8 could do something like that,
But
but
it's
like
like that's the last
you're like
episode.
playing with fire, and there's like what 40 minutes left
Yeah.
of everything. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like if you really think about it, you didn't explain anything about the main villain, Smilo Ran. Wait, how did he know about the witch got killed? How did he found May and Osha? Why did he want May and Osha? Why did he want the Padawan?
Yeah.
Why did he hate the Jedi? It's like, oh, it's like you didn't explain anything. You're just like, it's
It's
okay.
like you kind of explain it, but it's more like it's like general Sith talk. Like, yeah, I used to be a Jedi. Don't like it anymore.
I mean,
It's like
okay.
it's kind of like like a cool guy's way of, yeah, that happened. It's over.
Okay.
Now it's like, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I won't tell you
Again,
how.
my whole thing is like I was kind of fine with Smilo in the last episode. It was really Osha's reactions or like her inability to speak up or defend herself or anything like that, or defend her friends or anything like that. That's kind of where I had more of a problem with in that episode. I was kind of fine with Manny Jacinto in general. I don't know, but like this episode was really missing him. I will be honest.
Yeah, I was like,
I just don't think these characters are really interesting compared to him. But I'm gonna be honest.
he's only interesting in like Snoke is interesting in the Force Awakens. In that because he's able to get he got made to turn into a dark side. He's maybe a former Jedi. He he kills everyone. He's powerful. Why is he powerful? Why does he want a Jedi? How did he found me? How did he know all the backstory? How did he know anything? Why does he does anything? We have no idea. He just the here's the thing. Smilo Ran started the entire show. I don't think the showrunner realized that.
Well, yeah,
He's
yeah,
yeah. He's the one who just tell me to kill all the Jedi.
yeah, yeah.
And he's the one seduced May. And he's hinted that he knows what happened. So okay, what is so we're just like I just want to know what's the deal with Smilo Ram other than this flashback. I mean,
That's the problem with the last episode. Like they wanted the Parent Trap kind of thing where they switch the twins switch places, but like it just doesn't really work. Cause like you have one character who wants to tell the truth to Osha in particular, but like he can't really do that. But now he has to tell it to her sister, which is like it doesn't really make sense for her to tell it this anymore. Now it's like if there was another episode where the stranger explains like how May was corrupted by him, it's like that could possibly justify this decision, but like I can't really believe that because the next episode is the last episode. So
I
and
mean,
that's like a part of a story that we don't even know.
I mean, at best they just gotta be like, oh, I found you on the planet because I got exiled by my master in Dara, and I want to create life, and here's an emergence, so I just came here. I mean, I think they just gotta throw shit like this at best, or they just not gonna explain it, and we're gonna left confused of wait, what the fuck is the deal with the Smilo Ren guy?
Yeah, all of that is kind of like up in the air. And then oh, this has your favorite naming conventions. This has the writers are Charmaine de Great and A&D Jen Richards and
Fuck.
ampersand Jasmine Flournoy. So yeah, you have both and ampersand.
Yeah, why is
Yeah,
why is every episode written by two different groups of writers? I don't understand. Nothing makes sense.
oh, the last episode is one writer, so that should be something.
Hey, I mean, good luck with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing about they ended this episode in the past too, like where Soul's actions have to be not mentioned to the council so that he can train Osha as his Padawan. Soul does want to tell the truth, but Andar is actually telling him not to tell the truth. So
I mean,
fuck her, I guess.
even that was like Indara just like what does Indara have to say? It's like, oh, actually, here's the report. Here's a truth report. So May started the fire because she doesn't want her sister to go to Jedi because they are cultists, and everyone in here tries to kill all of us. And and one of the witches even attacked even mind control my Padawan. And and remember this, so we basically just defend ourselves because they try to kill us all. And we just want to protect the children's safety. And it turns out one of them tried to kill everyone anyways. Which is like
that's kind of my thing about like the whole like I don't know what the Jedi code is about self-defense in particular. I don't even know if like that's kind of like an unspoken boundary, like you shouldn't do that regardless, or you shouldn't, like no matter what, you shouldn't kill anybody.
Which is
I won't really. It's always kind of a weird line.
Which I mean, remember in Empire Strikes Back, Yoda said, "The Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack." I mean, the entire episode is just Jedi defending themselves and trying to save lives. So I guess fuck Yoda.
Yeah. But my bigger point was like the episode ending with like in the flashback and not like back in the present or something, seeing May's reaction or something or something like that. I feel like that was kind of a weird direction. You feel like with an episode that's been entirely a flashback, you feel like you would want to connect it to the present or something that obviously sets up your penultimate episode. I mean your finale. But yeah, I don't really. There was no setup for the finale, so I don't really know what. I mean, I guess is that a good thing?
Even Miss Marvel just did the time travel episode in episode 5 was like, hey, I'm gonna have my last scene be the damage control try to kill children.
At least there was a setup for the finale. That makes no sense.
So finale.
So yeah, that was episode 7, Choice.
Oh yeah, that's it. We really have a choice to just not watch this episode, but for your sake, we did.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next week for the finale. Bye, everyone.
Bye. I'm sure it will be great.
Oh yeah.